Hello, everybody. This is Michael McPherson again, coming to you from my studio 302 on Beacon Hill in Seattle. And this is, what is it? Today is February 4th, fourth day of Black History Month. And I'm going to do something a little bit different than I did the first 3 days. First of all, I just wanted again to do a little plug for this 366 days of American history. Affirmations compiled by Michael D. Woods, Affirmation. And I love this part, Too Much History for Just 1 Month. This is a book that you can get on Amazon, and I need to look and see where else you can get it because I know a lot of people don't want to use Amazon. You can get it spiraled like this or in hardback. And it's basically a calendar, and each day has a different person from Black history, US American history. And what I've been doing the last few days is following not like the February dates, just kind of picking out some different dates and talking about different people. And something I just noticed, and I've had this book like 25 years, down at the corner, at the bottom of the book, is divided up into like government officials and politicians, inventors and explorers, literary figures, entertainers. This is an amazing resource. So if you get the chance and you want to learn more about Black history, individuals, this is a great resource for that. I'm trying to show it again. There you go. I think knowing history in general is important, but I'll say for anybody, you should know your cultural history. You should know your background. It helps you understand where you're from, where you came from, the resilience of your people. Every people have some kind of struggle involved in their history. It's especially important for us as Black people because we live in a society that is constantly trying to diminish us, push us down. We even have some of us saying that we've never done anything of significance in the world because they've been so brainwashed. So if you don't know your history, you'll believe stuff like that, and you'll really think that Black people, US American, African American people haven't done anything or achieved anything. Unfortunately for me, I grew up in a home where Black history was and still is important. My mother taught us many things about our history, and while I'm not honestly able to like pull a bunch of names and dates out, the the history is just part of who I am, part of my being. So, I have, pride's not a good thing necessarily, but having confidence in yourself as a person and where you come from, family wise, and as a people, make it so that you can navigate the horrors of life, navigate the difficulties of life, because you have the strength. And that's why, especially for Black people, but for everyone else, so you understand who Black people are, it's really important to understand Black history. So today, though, instead of using the book that I have been using for the past 3 days, I decided to talk about Amadou Diallo. And I'm going to talk about Amadou because to February 4th, 1999 was a very unfortunate day. And if the event that took place that day hadn't happened that morning, we wouldn't even know who Amadou is. And honestly, Amadou's death was really when I realized that my life, not just as a Black person, but particularly as a Black male, but that police will take you out if you have a gun or if you've done anything or not. And this is not to paint all police officers, and I want to say that I know, because people say there are good police officers and bad police officers, and that's true for sure. However, there are some systemic problems within policing that if you're a good or bad police officer, you can get caught up. If you're a good police officer, get caught up. And next thing you know, you've done something that you shouldn't have done because of these systemic problems. And certainly the bad police officers take advantage of these systemic problems. So just real quick, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened when it comes to Amadou. And I want to briefly compare it a little bit to Tyree Nichols, because when we talk about systemic issues, and I don't have enough time to go all the way through why can I talk today? I can't say systemic, the problem. But I want to introduce you to it, and you should look into it for yourself. And I plan to write and talk about it a little bit more. So on February 4th, 1999, Amadou Diallo was approached by a New York City Police Department street crime unit. Now, that's important, the street crime unit. Now, History.com reports that the police, later claimed that Diallo fit the description of a rapist suspect. But at other times, they suggested that they identified him as a mugger or a drug dealer. So it sounds like it was ambiguous or just a pretext to stop him, possibly. I don't know. Members of the unit wore plain clothes and patrolled in unmarked cars. This is very important as well. The encounter quickly turned deadly. Of course, we'll never know what Amadou was thinking, but when confronted by the street-clothed cops, right, in unmarked cars, he fled to his vestibule of his building. The police demanded he show his hands. Instead, he reached for his back pocket. One of the officers shouted that Diallo had a gun. All four officers shot at Diallo a total of 41 times, a barrage of bullets, striking him 19. The officers claimed they warned Diallo before firing, but again, History.com reports that witnesses dispute those claims and that police continued to fire after Diallo was down. Diallo died at the scene. What's really sad is that Amadou was not armed. He was reaching, when he reached back, he was reaching for his wallet. That's what he ended up having in his hand. More than likely, he was trying to show his identification, or possibly just give them money because he didn't know who they were. We'll never really know what he was trying to do. But clearly he was confused and scared. We know that. And interestingly enough, Tyree Nichols was confused and scared. And it's important to understand, because when I said systemic problems in policing, creating situations, this is what happened with Amadou. I don't know if, many of you remember that, but you can definitely find it in pop culture because it really had a big impact. 41 shots is a lot. And in fact, Bruce Springsteen wrote a song called 41 Shots. Public Enemy refers to Diallo in their songs, in one of their songs, Wycliffe Jean, and a group called The Strokes, and others. All four officers, according to History.com, remain with NYPD. And one of the officers, who had previously shot another Black suspect in 1997, was promoted to sergeant in 2015. And I looked up that other incident, and it's similar to this, where the person wasn't armed. So I don't even know what to say, but I want to tell you a little bit about Diallo as a person. This page you see behind me is from the Amadou Diallo Foundation, started by his mother, Kadiatou Diallo. So in a Newsweek article I found, they spoke to Kadiatou, Amadou's mother. So I'm going to read that to you. In order to understand Amadou, it's best to hear it from the person who knew him best, his own mother. Kadiatou Diallo described her son in Newsweek. What I want the world to know about Amadou was, when he was 1, he grew up in a very wealthy surrounding. When he was growing up as a young little boy, we had 5 people working in the house: a gardener, someone who could cook, a driver, and everything else. Amadou never saw that type of privilege. He would always go and connect with the less fortunate people. Those were the people that Amadou would talk to. When he came to New York, he was facing hardship. He was doing hard jobs, not because his family could not support him, because he was independent. He wanted to achieve on his own. And when I see some of his pictures in New York City, he looks so tired. He was just a man who wanted to make it no matter what, said Diallo. And then Newsweek goes on to say, 5 days before his death, Amadou called his mother to tell her that he had raised $9,000 to pay for college courses. He was earning his income by selling videotapes, gloves, and hats out on the streets of lower Manhattan. Though he was struggling, the 22-year-old street vendor was on his way towards attending college and was an aspiring computer programmer. Kadiatu, quote, I want people to know Amadou, that his dream was to achieve a computer science program in an American university. That is why I created the Amadou Diallo Scholarship Program through Amadou Diallo Foundation, because like him, so many young immigrants today are facing the same hardship in America. They want to go to college, but some may not go completely because they have to do 2 or 3 jobs, added the president of Amadou Diallo Foundation. So I just wanted to let you all know a little bit about Amadou, the person, and not just about his death. That there was such a waste, like Tyree. And then the other thing I want you to think about is these special police units. And that in the case of Amadou, you had plainclothes police officers approaching him. It's not even clear why. And they killed him. It's a bit different than what happened with Tyree. These guys probably were afraid for their lives, the ones that shot Diallo, Amadou. But the systemic part of it is that the circumstances were created by their own actions, about approaching someone in plain clothes early in the morning. This person doesn't know who they are. He's afraid. If this is a dangerous neighborhood, and if the police are afraid, wouldn't he have reason to be afraid too? Are there other ways that you can police? And these special units tend to over-police. Part of the over-policing of people of color in neighborhoods, especially Black and brown people, there's a problem with these special units. Even the Cato Institute, which is a conservative think tank, wrote this really great piece about this killing of Amadou Diallo that I reread because I wrote some pieces way back then about this. So I pulled that back up. And what's really sad is that much of what they talk about in this piece that was written over 20 years ago is relevant when it comes to Tyree Nichols' death, which was also plainclothes, special unit police. And the tactics that in this piece that the Cato Institute wrote, they talked about the tactics that these units use: swarming, using vulgarity, going off on the target. And that's exactly what they did to Tyree. Before we go, we're going to look at what happened on February 4th. And again, I'm using this book, Affirmations, but you can see in the background there, February 4th, 1971, National Guard mobilized to quell rioting in Wilmington, North Carolina, 2 persons killed. So when I did that search and I saw that, I was like, oh, that's my state again, North Carolina. We don't, people, when you think about the South, people want to act like, people not standing up, but we've been standing up a long time and we still are. So I wanted to get that in there. So on this day, guess who was born on this day? Rosa Parks. Rosa Louise Parks. Need my glasses again? Mother of the Civil Rights Movement, was born in Tuskegee, Alabama. 1922, Herman M. Holloway Sr., Delaware's first African-American state senator, was born in Wilmington, Delaware. 1947, Sanford Bishop, Georgia's 2nd District Congressman, was born in Mobile, Alabama. And in 1959, Lawrence J. Taylor, New York Giants Lawrence of the Meadowlands, was born in Williamsburg, Virginia. LT, Lawrence Taylor. All right, so that's what we got going today, February 4th, Black History Month, the 4th post. I appreciate you tuning in or streaming in or whatever, and I see you tomorrow. Take care.